Good evening. I'm Anitha, Assistant Professor in the Department of Artificial Intelligence and Data Science. Now we are going to see the topic categorizations of major clustering. Some of the methods we are using for clustering this clustering methods can be classified into following categories. One is k-means, partitioning methods, hierarchical methods, density-based methods, grid-based methods, model-based method, constraint-based method. First is k-means. Given k, the k-means algorithm is implemented in 4 steps. One is partition objects in k, non-empty subsets, compute seed points as the centroids of the clusters of the current partitions, that is the centroid is the center, that is mean point of a cluster. Assign each objects to the cluster with the nearest seed points. Go back to step 2, stop when no more new assignments. Next is partitioning method. Suppose we are given a database of n objects. The partition methods construct k partitions of data. Each partition represents a cluster and k is lesser than or equal to n. It means that it will be classify the data in k groups which satisfy the following requirements. Each group contains at least one object. Each object must belong to exactly one group. Next, hierarchical methods. This method creates a hierarchical decomposition of the given set of data sets, agglomerative approach, and divisive approach. This approach is also known as bottom-up approach. In this, we start with each object forming a separate group. It keeps on merging the objects or groups that are close to one another. It keeps it keep on doing so until all of groups are merged into one or until the termination condition holds. Diversive approach is also top-down approach. In the start, with all the objective, the same cluster in the continuous iterations, a cluster is split up into smaller clusters and until each object in one cluster or the termination conditions holds. Next, disadvantages. This method is rigid, that is one merged or a split is done. It can never be undone. Approaches to improve quality or hierarchical clustering. Here is the two approaches that are used to improve quality or hierarchical clusters. Perform careful analysis of object linkages at each hierarchical partitioning. Integrate hierarchical agglomeration by first using a hierarchical agglomeration algorithm to group objects into micro clusters, then performing macro clusterings on the micro clusters. Typically methods Diana, Agnes, Bridge, Rock and Shemelon. Next is Bridge. Uses CF tree and incrementally adjust the quality of subclusters. Incrementally construct of CF tree, a hierarchical data structure for multi-phase clusters. Phase 1 scan DB to build an initial in-memory CF tree. That is a multi-level compression of a data that tries to preserve the inherent clusters structure of a data. Phase 2 use an arbitrary clustering algorithm to cluster the leaf nodes of the CF tree. Next major idea, use in links to measures simplicity, proximity, not distance based, computational complexity. These algorithms are sampling based clustering, draw random samples, cluster like links, label data in disk. Next is density based method, that is clustering based on density, such as density connected points, major features, discover clusters of arbitrary shapes, handle noise, one scan, need density parameters as termination condition, two parameters, EPS maximum radius of a neighborhood, minimum number of points in an EPS neighborhoods of that point. Typical methods DB scan and optics, DenClue, DB scan density based spatial clustering of applications with noise. Next is grid based methods using multi resolutions grid data structure. These are the some of the advantages are this method is fast processing time. It is dependent only on the number of cells in each dimension, the quantized space. Typical method string, wave cluster, click string statistical information grid approach. The spatial area is divided into rectangular cells. There are several levels of cells corresponding to different levels of resolutions. Next, 6 model-based methods attempt to optimize the fit between the given data and some mathematical models based on the assumptions. Data are generated by a mixture of underlying probability distributions. In this method also serve a way of automatically determining number of clusters based on standard statistics that outlier or noises into account. It therefore yield robust clustering methods. Some is cluster constant based methods. This is user specified or application specific constraints. These applications are used in desirable to have user guided cluster analysis, different constraints in cluster analysis and constraints of individual objects. Clusters and houses with constraints on distance or similarity. Thank you.